Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and around October of last year, I'm thinking, I don't know if it's 2023 or 2024 at this point, we released a Tags and Tropes episode on Omegaverse. One of Idling's Discord members, Libby, who's actually here today for emotional support, recommended that we chat with a supernatural fan who runs their own Discord, aptly titled Omegaverse Lovers Unite. Laili, known as SPN Fanfic-reblog-writes on Tumblr and AO3, is a SPN fandom butterfly. As a manta ray over on the SPN fanfic pond, they help to keep things flowing. They spread their love of fan fiction everywhere. They have almost 100 works posted on AO3, and their one true pairing is Destiel. They are a great example of how to be open and accepting of each and every fandom member's OTP. A quote direct from their AO3 profile, "I do not ship or kink shame. I might not like it, but that's okay. You do you, be authentic and genuine. I try to be." We're looking forward to getting another perspective on Omegaverse, the joy of fandom, and the importance of community. So big thanks for joining us, and welcome to the podcast, Laili.
Welcome to the podcast, Laili.
Hi, and Libby.
Thank you.
And Libby is also here.
He's just here to chill. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just here.
There are worse ways to spend a Saturday evening, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, we're a hoot.
The more the merrier.
Well, I appreciate the invite. I never expected it, to be totally honest. I never expected anything. I just help out people who want it.
I remember back, I think it was Nicole, when we had interviewed Nicole, who was the anthropologist who was on SPN Fanfic Pond. And I think she'd mentioned you as being somebody who had answered a lot of questions about fandom and your participation in sort of the fanfic community and different things like that.
Yeah, she wanted to know the process. And so a lot of times, because I have different ways. It just kind of depends on how the story is. And so I would break down my general process. And then if I was actually in the process, I would try to share documents to show her what it was like.
Awesome.
Things like that. Because, it's research. The more evidence you have, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just stuff that I would do to help out because I know it's better. My husband's a biochemist by training, so I have a good idea about needing all that stuff to be able to get help and do it. So I thought it was a great idea.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love talking to Nicole. I hope we can have Nicole back for another thing at some point if they get another fandom bug in their brain and they want to do
I
some
hope
more
so.
research
They're still on the pond. I know
That's
that.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't see them very often, but I know they're still part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. I had too many questions for Nicole. There was a problem.
Laili, you're everywhere. You're everywhere all at once. So I think we kind of want to start at the beginning, where it all started. When exactly did you get into Supernatural?
I actually got into Supernatural when it started.
Okay.
Oh.
A while ago, I realized that I have actually been following Jensen's career.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen every single show he's been on, and it wasn't intentional. It wasn't him that I was following. I've seen all or the episodes or whatever. And
are we talking Days of Our Lives too?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yes, I've seen the Days of Our Life. I saw the episode of Wishbone.
Oh wow!
I used to really love that show. I don't know that I ever saw Jensen's episode of it, but I used to really love that show as a kid.
I remember when I saw screenshots, I remembered it. Yeah, I loved Wishbone.
Wasn't
I
he on the Babysitters Club too? Did you see?
No.
Did you? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I think
I never really watched Babysitters Club. It was too old for me at the time. I've seen the movies, and I know the book series, the new book series is very popular. But no, I did that, but I really caught when I saw the trailer for it. I recognized him from Smallville as Flash, and then I recognized, Jared as Dean from Gilmore Girls. And I was like, oh, I like them. I bet it's going to be fun. But I was hesitant because because at the time I liked horror. At some point my brain broke and I can't do true horror. I can't do body mod type stuff that's forced.
Yeah.
To be honest, I still watch horror, but I watch those movie recaps you can see on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
That's valid.
I can do like comedy horror. Comedy horror is not a problem.
Give me an example, because I'm not much on horror either.
Hold on. Catherine, she played Claire.
Oh.
Her like something Frankenstein.
Gingers? Oh, okay. I got you. Yes. The Frankenstein one, the one that just came out. Yeah.
I had no problem with that. That was hilarious. I've seen, Zombieland has never been a problem. Anything like that, you know. I loved what was.
So did it feel like Supernatural kind of hit that note for you a little bit too? Like it wasn't like too.
So I watched it because I liked the people and they were hot. So and I admit initially. Well, I was like, when did it come out? 2005? I was just out of high school when it came out. I was like, it was September 2005. So I was 19 when it came out, even though I was dating my now husband. I watched it. I liked it. And I got that it was a monster of the week. It was kind of obvious it was a monster of the week, but I was more interested once they I watched it because they were hot and it was cool. But then once they finally started showing the story, like their relationship and their background with their dad, and that got incorporated. That's what drew me in. That's what kept me with the show. And that's how I am with stories. That's how I am with books. It's about the characters' relationship. It's about their development and how that interacts with the plot.
Yeah.
If the characters are flat, it just doesn't work. I mean, smut's great and everything, but if the plot's crap, it doesn't work. It just, I can't do it. I want to be able to, it's like a good movie that draws you in. It can be a slow start, but it has to be something that grabs you.
Absolutely.
And it's, talking about the characters and how they are, and you see how they're interacting initially, it's like, oh, what's going on here, But that's how I was, is that once they started really incorporating their relationship and their background, so you got an actual understanding of why they are the way they are, because that's always fascinated me about people in general. It's like, why do you act this way? What is it? Knowing the how and why of things ever since I was a little kid, like, single digits has always fascinated me. It just kept me going. I mean, and then once we got Netflix, because Supernatural was on Netflix forever. Every season it would end, I just rewatch the show.
Okay.
Every time, except for the last season.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't rewatch it after the last season. The last like 3 episodes were kind of traumatizing and rough.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. Just a little.
So anyway.
No.
But that's really how I got into it. But I've always liked stuff like that. I like urban fantasy, but I like sci-fi I like anything like that. And I've always enjoyed reading. I've always enjoyed reading that. Once I finally found it, especially with Jensen, I loved Dark Angel. I was so upset when it didn't continue because I wanted to see how Max's relationship with Alec was progressing. It was really fascinating because it was more sibling than anything. And I was just really curious how that was going to go and if they were ever going to give him a love interest.
I haven't watched Dark Angel. I thought it was a Buffy spinoff.
The first couple episodes do come off that way. I completely understand.
It's like there was Buffy and then there was Angel, and I genuinely thought like Dark Angel was just like another Buffy spinoff.
I did too. That's why I started watching it.
And I've been put off Buffy so hard by an ex of mine that I'm like, I'm sure it's a great show. I'm never going to find out because I'm never going to watch it. So I was like, oh, it's just another Buffy thing. Cool. And it was in like the last 2 or 3 years that I found out someone was like, no, it's nothing to do with Buffy. And I was like, what?
And I think you would like it, Kasey. I think you would like it.
I think you probably would, yeah.
If you know anime, it's a very, what's the word? It's very Magic Girl-esque, like Buffy is. In that way, but she was made that way. It's not like something gave her the power.
Okay.
Because like traditionally Japanese anime, a magic girl is like Sailor Moon. She has a thing that gives her the power. that changes her and gives her and everything. But like Buffy, Max was made that way. She was literally genetically engineered that way. And that's why. And it was a fascinating idea, and sci-fi was becoming more popular with that. And everybody was doing more urban fantasy shows. Because Mortal Kombat Conquest was actually the first fanfic I ever wrote.
Aw.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
But I wrote it by hand. Like, I had like 20 sheets of paper written out by hand, and they were college rules.
Hey, that's what I did back in the day. Back in the day, you did a notebook. Guys.
I don't know what happened to it. I couldn't tell you what happened to it to save my life. But it was the first fanfic I ever wrote. Now, at the time, I didn't know the term fanfic. I didn't know that's what it was.
Right.
I mean, I've been reading it since I was like 12, but I never
didn't know there was a term for it, that there was actually a thing. Oh, like this.
Which is weird because I used to read stuff from ff.net and my brain just never made that connection. No, it sounds terrible, but I just never. Yeah. I just would find it, bookmark it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, before that, it was Highlander the series, and yes, I'm still a huge Highlander fan. I'm so excited for the new movie to come out with Henry Cavill.
He's in everything nowadays. Does he take a day off? Seriously, like I don't. Okay, right. Potentially.
That's why he left. That's why he left Witcher.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's why he left The Witcher. Was because he wanted to do that.
Potentially bad Brit moment, but I've never got the hype around Henry Cavill.
Me,
like he's a very conventionally attractive man. No, I don't think he is.
Very attractive man. What's the opposite of a cougar? What's the male version of a cougar?
No idea.
Whatever that is, that's what he is. Because the boy he has a kid with is like 10 to 15 years younger than him.
Okay. No, he's like Henry Cavill, Tom Hardy, and Benedict Cumberbatch, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Into Tom Hardy.
I agree. As a Brit, I agree.
Me and Libby solidarity here with all these Britain's sexiest men, and we're like,
Tom Hardy. I like Tom Hardy because of his acting ability. Because I remember him from what was it? Not First Contact. Nemesis, Star Trek Nemesis. Yeah, because he was supposed to be a modified clone of Picard. But he was dying, and I don't remember what all of it was. It's been a while since I've seen it. We don't really watch it that often. We'll watch the series, but we tend to skip it from now on.
That's fair.
Don't tell the Trekkies. But yeah, it's, I don't know. He's a great actor. I love him with Venom. I love
Venom.
I love Venom. Venom's fascinating for a character. We're getting totally off topic.
Have you seen the last Venom movie though?
I did.
I cried so much. My husband was next to me like,
I thought it was so cool that there were
such a good movie. And I was like, but
why?
And it was so emotional. Yeah, no, I'm not into like Spider-Man as a Marvel superhero or anything like that. I love Tom Holland, but I just don't have that much interest in it. Venom, I was like, yes.
I grew up. See, you have to understand that I grew up very poor, like below the poverty line in the 90s. Mm. And my brother collected comic books. So Marvel comic books were the first ones that I ever got exposed to.
Yeah.
For stuff like that. He did have the DC one of when Superman. He had two of them. He had the one where Pa died, which was really weird and very fantastical.
Okay.
Well, he goes and follows him, and it's this really weird there's cherubs everywhere, and they have to fight Clark off, and Clark's like, no, you can't go, and it was weird. The way they did it was just weird. But for the 90s, that was typical. And then there was another one of the death of Superman, and where they, put him into the sun, and he got supercharged, and he became electric.
Okay.
But that was the one comic. And then I got introduced to Squirrel Girl, and she was annoying as fuck. But that was initially the point of her, was she would she was trying too hard to be friends with Spider-Man.
Okay.
But I liked when they rebooted her. I have the first season of all the comics.
Was there a movie? Or was there supposed to be a movie?
No, there was supposed to be a show that never happened that they were going to do. And they did a couple episodes. They recorded a couple episodes, but they haven't been released. You can see snippets, and I forgot who it was. It was it was that cute little T-Mobile chick that was going to play Squirrel Girl.
Oh.
And you can find little snippets on YouTube. It was very accurate.
Was that supposed to be in line with another bunch of shows?
It was supposed to be canon.
Okay, but I mean, was it like during a?
Is that when they were doing like Jessica Jones and like those Netflix-y things?
No, it wasn't going to be Netflix. No. It was going to be on cable.
Oh, okay. It's been so long ago. Yeah. Okay.
I remember when Marvel was doing like
it was like
Jessica
the Young
Jones
Avengers or something
Luke
like
Cage
that
and stuff.
Okay.
All right, okay.
It was supposed to be something like that. Right. I think it was before. Yeah, it was before Disney Plus came out. Or right when it came out or something like that. Cable was still a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the comics though, I love her so much. She defeated Galactus by talking to him. I mean, she had to steal Iron Man's stuff, but the point is she defeated Galactus by talking to him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And helping address his emotional needs.
Oh.
I'm not kidding.
Very cute. That's very cute.
That sounds like a great
I haven't
character.
gotten the second season of comics, but I love the first season's awesome. I love her so much. She's a great role model.
So you
Sorry,
said that,
keep getting off topic.
No, that's fine. This is what we do.
It's fine.
You were saying that was like what your brother bought a lot of those comics. So that was was that like your first introduction to a lot of that too? Like growing up?
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, we were really poor. And so I've always had a huge imagination. I've always been an escapist type person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, comics were the first thing I really got exposed to with stuff like that. I mean, we didn't really have cable. Cable was kind of a luxury item. Like Disney Channel was a luxury item.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't something, I mean, other than the public stations, which is where I'd watch Saturday morning cartoons, I wasn't like a free range kid, but it's you leave the house and you don't come back till the streetlights are on kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that was me. I was a very physical, rough and tumble kid. I was what was considered more traditional for a boy. Mm. I could climb trees. I was the one that would go, I still go barefoot everywhere, but I don't like shoes. Even if there's gravel, I'd almost always rather be barefoot. But yeah, it's just how it was. And that was the first real thing. And after that, my imagination kind of soared. I never really liked reading unless I was read to. And my mom read to me every night. It's just I could never find something that was interesting enough for me. Like my first bad grade I ever got was in 4th grade reading, because we were reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by ourselves. And at that time period, C.S. Lewis, they were paid by the word. So it's wordy as fuck.
Mm.
You expect like 8 or 9, I mean, not, what is 4th grade? Hold on. Yeah, like a 9 or 10-year-old to read this by themselves, seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I actually made a D. Like, I was good until that semester. Or that 9 weeks.
Gotcha.
And my mom's like, why? I'm like, they wanted me, and I explained it to her. She's like, oh, yeah, that's no. My mom was totally on board. Well, what's funny is you're going to laugh at me.
I'm not, I promise.
No, it's totally fine if you do. My first books I ever loved reading were romance novels.
Yeah,
same. I did that too. Like I actually was reading stuff that my mother didn't understand were romance novels when I started reading them. Yeah. She just didn't know.
My mom didn't care. She was just happy I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically I was reading fan fiction too. I mean, it was Highlander fan fiction, but still. Mm-hmm. I got introduced to, it took a while to find good writing, but I got introduced to writing and to how stories are and how, different levels of writing and reading. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had good comprehension. My parents were very big, were teachers. among other things. And we're very big on providing additional support because where I'm from isn't the greatest when it came to education in the 90s.
We've learned a lot about background, which is great. I'm going to circle it back to Kasey's question that I don't know if you've listened, but if not, it's brand new. Kasey's question.
I could ask Libby as well, since you're here. You can be asked this question. This is where Libby's like, I hate Supernatural and everything to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. No.
We'll do Laili first. So if you can, and it's okay if you can't, do you feel like you, like, out of the brothers, do you feel like you have a Blorbo? Do you feel like it's Sam's your Blorbo or Dean's your Blorbo? Or are you like a bi-bro? Or like, or your Blorbo is someone completely different, and that's fine, and I'll just put a note.
No, I have one in every fandom. Well, it's funny. Originally it was Sam, and then they finally started showing Dean's intelligence, and it's been Dean since.
Okay. Yep.
Dean's my Blorbo. I mean, that's the truth. If you look at my writing, you'll see that. Dean. You'll see all of that.
So you started out with Sam. And now
because I related to him. He was a total geek, total nerd. And they showed Dean as this like bad boy thing. And when they finally gave him more depth, it turns out, no, he's actually a bigger geek than his brother.
Yeah.
But he's really intelligent, but he doesn't have a commonly known intelligence. It made sense.
Yeah.
And he has, honestly, they always showed more depth, in my opinion, for Dean than they ever did for Sam. They kind of showed that at the beginning. So it was understood, in the later seasons how he was. While Dean just kept, they kept progressing with him, especially once he had that that relationship with Cass. You really got to see depths, and you really got to see development and change in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one of the, I don't know about you guys, but I'll watch the people who go to the conventions and they'll record, the interviews and the segments and stuff, or the panels. I'll watch those. And I know Jensen has said, and I agree, which is the one thing that always bothered him about Dean was how insensitive he can be. And it's true, though, because if you think about it, you're a leader. Like, Dean's a natural leader, from what I can tell. And you have to make choices and decisions, and you're going to end up always being insensitive. That's just how it is when you're a leader. He goes back and forth between different types of ethics. A lot of times he'll just, when he's at his end, he'll just do an ends justify the means kind of thing. And sacrifice just about whatever he has to. But, you can see that he doesn't try to do that. He's all for keeping the individual, and the individual is more important than necessarily the group. But when it turns out that's not what's going to work, that's where he goes, because that's also a military thing, because his dad was military. His dad was supposed to be in Vietnam. My dad was actually in Vietnam for about 2 years. He was an officer. Okay. He was a lieutenant officer for a while. And, it's, you're the one who has to make the big calls, and you're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And he learned that, he learned that super early on. And I don't know. I just like the depth of him, his flaws. You don't really see a lot of flaws with Sam. I'm sorry. They don't really show it.
No, because he's a perfect angel baby who has never done a thing wrong a day in his life.
I mean, I love when they do angst with him. I love all his angsty stuff.
Yeah.
When he gets infected, when he has the whole demons.
You're speaking Kasey's language right now.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. Yep.
Look, the part that pissed me off was he should have kept having visions. They didn't burn out because, think about it. If you're an infant and you have all of this still there, genetically, I'm talking science here. You have all that there, and later on he starts having visions. Well, that means that there's a genetic factor to it, that he's been genetically changed. Okay? And because of that, he should have kept having those visions. He should have kept having that stuff. happened to him, even after everything with breaking the seals and after the whole, special kids thing and opening the gates of hell, that all should have been kept going, in my opinion. That's the one thing I hated it. But they kept, after so many seasons, they'd always change head writers. And so they do their own thing, and they didn't have a book. They needed a Bible. They needed a show Bible. You're supposed to.
The wiki's right there.
it's right there, lads. We've done all of the work for you. Come on now.
I know. I bet Jensen used it.
I
bet Jensen used it.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. He basically, the Winchesters is basically a giant fiction.
Oh yeah, no, we talked to Jules, who runs SuperWiki, and she was a consultant for the Winchesters.
Really?
And
awesome.
She didn't get to meet Jensen, though. I asked.
No,
that
we
was
did ask.
One of my first questions. I was like,
question.
Did you get to sit down with Jensen and talk about it? And she was like, I did not. I had a contact. I did not actually.
But that was that was a big part of it too.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that question to Libby now.
Libby has a very interesting point of view when it comes to that. We've talked about that.
Oh, hit me.
No, I'm a Dean girl through and through. I've always loved Dean. And in the beginning, when I first watched Supernatural, I couldn't stand Sam.
Oh.
But after after the second rewatch, I could see myself it was crazy. I could see myself in Sam.
I think that's what it is for a lot of people, right? I think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're young, and you're going through things and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, he's so annoying. Why is he doing this? And you're like,
mirror.
Fuck. Yeah, fuck. That's me.
Here's the part that I bet you was part of what really bugged you. You are the oldest.
Yeah.
Sam is the youngest. I'm the youngest. So the
dynamic too.
It's a different personality type.
Yeah.
It's a different personality type, and technically, psychologically, if you are 3 years or more apart in age, you're basically an only child mentally.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
and they're 4 years
3.5. Yeah, I'm nearly 4 years apart with my sister.
Yeah, and so because for me, my eldest, my sister is 7 years, and my brother is 4.
Okay.
So I was basically an only child. We all were basically only children. We just had very good relationships and communication with each other.
Yeah.
So
no,
But I think a lot of it is that a lot of people didn't initially like them because they didn't like their sibling dynamic. But once you understood their background and how their dad was with them, it makes complete sense, the codependency that they had on each other. Like, Sam was the one who was trying to stop, and Dean couldn't. And Sam realized that later on.
Yeah. That's what I love what you were talking about, Laili, about the show, like the family dynamics, the relationship part. Like, that's what keeps you.
It's not a show about going after monsters. It's a show about brothers who happen to be, who are monster hunters. I mean, for lack of a better wording, supernatural. I mean, they're basically the boogeyman of the monster world. I still remember that one episode of, we're not stuck here with you. You're stuck in here with us. And I'm like, yup. Y'all about to get owned. You don't even know. And Dean, of course, excels at that shit. So
yeah. So, Kasey, do you feel better now? Your numbers are weighted in. Yeah, you could still complain about having to carry Mr. Moose. Yep. Okay. Very good.
I'm a much happier camper. It was getting
complaints.
I've written Sam fanfic. I have written some of that. So, and I have no problem writing him. It's just
you've got a Blorbo.
I love Dean. I mean, Dean's just fascinating to me. That's really what it is. Is Dean's fascinating. Like, I have had so many discussions with people about Dean's psychology.
Yeah.
I love any of the stuff that's like character analysis. I love that stuff.
Yeah. I think that's why we're still doing this podcast, is because we can still seem to come back to what the heck is going on with these guys. Like, what is the motivation? What is the drive? Why are they making these choices? Just again and again and again. It's just, we seem to think we don't have enough to talk about, and then you can always have another interesting conversation with someone.
You can. Everyone's got different perspectives.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Is what I really love about this. Yeah.
Obviously, you both finished the show. I'm going to assume because you're mentioning rewatches and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Mystery Spot season 3. Thoughts on it? Love it? Hate it? Ambivalent about it?
I like changing channels better.
Okay.
I mean, I liked Mystery Spot because I wish Gabriel did that more. Because, I mean, the whole point of Mystery Spot was about basically, even though he was against it, you know, of making Sam play his role. That was like the whole point, you know, of the show. I just thought it was hilarious, all the different ways that they killed Dean. Dean is like, oh, this food tastes weird. And like, I was like, Dean would die from food poisoning. Dean would so die from food poisoning. He really
oh my
would.
gosh, that one time in like a Supernatural Christmas, and like they're offering him stuff, and he's like, you know, these are bad people, and like, and Sam's got to be like, no, you don't want anything from them to eat or something like that. I was just like,
I
child,
you
this poor
know,
child.
look. You know, like, especially once God got truly introduced, you know that they were his Blorbos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know that Sam and Dean were his Blorbos. And that's why Dean never got worms from truck stop food.
Oh, that's
or like
that's
food
upsetting.
poisoning all the time. Because I guarantee if he had food poisoning all the time, he'd stop eating it. Like, Dean should have been fat. I'm sorry. Dean should have been fat.
Mm-hmm.
He should have had a belly at some point, especially with the amount of alcohol he drank.
Yeah.
That man had terrible coping skills, and we all know it.
Yeah.
But I relate to all those coping skills, so I completely understand why he did them and why they were there. I'm sure you guys have seen, I'm a very big mental health advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Libby.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Mystery Spot?
My thoughts on Mystery Spot. It was stressful, but funny. It's an absolutely hilarious, but very stressful episode. Because you get it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd say so. Definitely, because it is funny, but the stress like Sam feels, it's just horrible. Because you're like, if I was in that situation, I'd be going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can see that, right? You can see how he ends up dealing with that. Absolutely.
And then the grief, like, absolutely, I'd lose it. Mental hospital, Britney Spears breakdown, shave my head. And that's why I told my friends, we talked about it. I'm like, okay, if we're ever in a time loop, we need to have like a word or something, and we need to believe each other. And they're like, yeah, Olivia, I can, because like they're like, how do you, like, mental illness and stuff, how do you believe people, you know, when you're in that situation?
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah. Sandra, we need a code word if we ever end up in a time loop. This is important. But
then it's like, have you lost it? Are you okay? What's going on? Because the other person never believes you until it's too late. And then you're in the loop again.
I don't know, Kasey. We're gonna have to come up with it kind of reminds me of, like, what was it, the nihilism episode, season 14, the Poughkeepsie, or like how Poughkeepsie's used over and over again, like, for them to know, you know, there's something going on. You know, no, this is serious. Like, you know, something's not right. Situation.
I said stressful, but hilarious, but stressful, very stressful.
Mostly stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Valid.
I mean, it was good. It was funny because, you know, it's Groundhog's Day. I mean, that's all he did it was Groundhog's Day, and I like the movie Groundhog's Day. So but that was about it. It was just more like, okay, I don't think this is a good way for you to prove the point. I felt like it could have been done better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
like changing channels, I think, did better to get his point across.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment we saw Dean go all fangirl and googly eyes over
Dr. Sexy
with the cowboy boots, I think we all could confirm that he's secretly bisexual. Whether he knows it or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me? No, it never surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think so. We got some about writing in here. How about other favorite characters, Laili? Other favorite characters on the show?
Oh, I love Rowena.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Rowena. Like, in my world, Sam is totally in a poly relationship with Eileen, Rowena, and Gabriel.
Yeah. Get
because
with that.
I love Sam and Gabriel's interactions. Like, it's so obvious that he's flirting with him all the time. And I just love their interactions. They're hilarious. I love Bobby. Mm-hmm. I actually love Crowley. Mm-hmm. When they finally started giving him some depth, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I love it. Especially when you found out like his actual name and why.
Yes.
Why he sold his soul, that kind of thing. I love Claire. But I think I love Claire because Claire is basically a female version of Dean.
Yeah.
In many, many ways. She's pretty much identical. And of course, there's always Charlie.
Right.
I'm so pissed that they killed her off. So pissed. I'm like, that should not have happened. Mm-hmm. You all know Dean would have gotten there in time and killed the guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That was a whole plot device that should not have been used.
Yeah. I will die mad on that hill, 100%.
Yep. And then, obviously, like I said, Gabriel. And then I actually really liked Arthur. I loved Ketch. Yeah, Ketch was so fascinating because a little background on me is when I was 12, due to how schooling was, and after my parents' divorce, my mom had to move, and I ended up finishing out the first half of my school year with friends of ours. And the father is ex special ops. And special ops are taught to be amoral. The whole point is you follow the orders, you do you shoot people, you kill them, whatever, you interrogate. You have to have a different mindset to be able to do that. When I saw that's what Arthur was doing. But then when you saw these little conversations that he had with Dean, you saw this personality that was very different. And then when he left the British Men of Letters, you finally got to see a whole lot more of him. And I really liked him. I thought he was way better, and they should have kept him around way longer. And I just thought he was like, finally got to see him and see, him as a person, not as, a tool, a weapon. Yeah. I mean, that's why he acted the way he did initially, was a weapon, because that's what he was. That's what he was, taught and trained to be and designed to be mentally. But then when he finally left because of the Winchesters, because of what happened, and how things went down, it showed a lot. He became a mercenary, but he didn't stay amoral. He still fought, demons and monsters, but, he also made choices of what needed to work and to function, and testing out what he was okay with and what he wasn't. Because, they started all this stuff as a little kid, so he didn't truly get to learn right and wrong and consequences from his perspective, of living. Arthur, to me, is very fascinating for a character. Like, if Dean hadn't been part of the show, I think Arthur would have been my Blorbo. I'm just really fascinated. Yeah, I'm really fascinated with just his background. I want to know more about his psyche and how it functions. I've actually been writing a lot more Dean Arthur.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have like a little series that I've done. I haven't figured out how to do the next part. It's just like a little, like, one chapter, like a big drabble kind of thing.
Right.
I gotta get one of my little gift stories that I have. That's what I call it. I call them gift stories. So when I have gifts included, and like the gift tells the progress, and then I have like additional, writing. That's what I call them. I call them gift stories.
Gotcha.
And they're fun to do because you have elements you don't necessarily have to write, but you can show in your writing, how they affect what's happening. But anyway.
You were talking about ship, that you've been writing a little bit more Dean Arthur. So that kind of leads into one of my other questions, like pairings and different ships that you lean towards, that you love writing, that you love reading. Tell us all the things. Tell us all the stuff, because I know you've got a lot. I know you've got a lot in there.
Obviously, I'm a huge Destiel. Whatever. I say Destiel because it doesn't make sense.
Do some people say it differently? They
say Destiel because
Dean. I didn't know that. Okay.
D-E is from Dean and the rest is from Castiel.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
People could be wrong.
No, because in
I allow this.
in the show, when they do the musical, I'm pretty sure that's how they pronounce it, was Destiel.
Okay.
And I'm like, but it's supposed to be a mix of the names. It's not. That's not how. Anyway. I say Destiel.
Yeah.
That's
the right way to say it.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it to me. But anyhow, I actually like polyfics. I like polyshipping.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Destiel reader person. But I admit most of those are self-indulgent.
That's the best way to write sometimes. Sometimes that's the way you want to write. Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
writing for yourself before anybody else.
I mean, unless it's a request or something, and then I'm writing it, I'm trying to imagine how that person and personality would work and where it would go. And because I've written an FTM, where I was an FTM reader, was with Gabriel. I've done that. And I've done, I write a lot of LGBT characters. It may not necessarily come across that way, but that's how I design them. Because I myself am like that. My pronouns are they, them. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things of, I remember I don't remember what English class it was, but we were learning to write stories in middle school or something. And they talked about how a lot of our authors start with writing what they know. It's the easiest thing. Yeah. Writing, aspects of your life, writing about the people around you, things like that, the places you've been. And I admit most of my reader stuff is indulgent. It's totally self-indulgent. I actually have a self-ship blog, I guess. I stopped writing it. It was more of a story I was telling. If you look and read, it was more of a story I was telling, a viewpoint and version of, if myself was in the show, in that world, how I would be.
Yeah.
And then after a certain point, because we were all poly and everything, and then after a point I left because there was an attention issue and things weren't balanced like they were, and I haven't quite figured out how to continue that that story. But anyway, I primarily now write reader fics because they're very popular on Tumblr, and honestly, I get more feedback and stuff on Tumblr than I do on AO3.
Yeah, it is interesting how that shifts. I've noticed that too. There's certain places that certain stories seem to get more interaction or do.
Yeah, I post on both. I post on both. I post on Tumblr and AO3.
Do you always do that? Do you have a process? If it's going on Tumblr, it's going on AO3, so you know. Typically I'll do Tumblr first, and within 24 hours, if not right after, I'll go put it on AO3. Can you tell us about some fanfic authors that inspire you? Because you got to listen.
Oh, the first one I really thought of, honestly, was Red Amber 79.
Okay.
I love her. She has a whole series on they were roommates. Different types. She's very, I think that's her pronouns. I'm sorry if it's not, but they're just very inspiring because they, their OTP is Destiel, and that's all they write. And then Zacian, I love Zacian because they have no problem writing the squick stuff. And so they're the only ones I've ever really, they're one of the, not the only ones, they're one of the few that I've ever enjoyed reading the underage stuff. But they always write high school. So that's why. Okay. And they'll do they currently have, they have a current one that's pseudo incest because they're step siblings.
Okay.
Right.
That's like Dean and Cass are step siblings in it, and so she's in the process of writing that one. But it's just, but it's how she goes about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how, because they're basically requests, really, is what it is, and or like she's done like she'll do blurbs, kind of like a little drabble type thing, and then be like, of these, what do you think? What would be good? Here's the vote, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like the way she writes. She's the way she does it. She's very good at keeping her flow. She's very good at keeping you engaged. And then another favorite is it's Shark something, but they write such fascinating stuff. Like I got into them because I got into this huge story that they wrote that was Destiel, but Cass was bipolar with depression. He was a writer, and he wasn't always medicated. And he was like 30 and Dean was like early 20s.
Okay.
And Dean didn't realize that he was gay, kind of, or, that kind of thing. And so you can view it as him being gay for Cass. Like they met at a bar, and, Dean was just like, okay, kind of thing. And it's this whole thing, but it includes, like, they do mental health. They do that. Like, it's not triggering, but the way they do it shows, it's realistic. It shows the problem. It shows, how they're dealing with it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of smut, but it's more kink exploration, which also the benefit of showing kink exploration, if it's done right, is you also show the character dynamics and how the relationship develops. And which is why I have no problem with smut in anything, because depending on how it's written, you can really incorporate the emotions, and you can really incorporate the characters' personalities and how they respond to each other. You don't see it that often, I admit, because most authors that write smut just write smut because of whatever it is they want to see and read, which is, I don't hold against them. I totally get it.
Well, kind of like that self-indulgent part too, like you were talking about earlier.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right. It's just, you can only read so much of it.
I think that's what Kasey and I come across. Well, no, but Kasey and I, we do talk a little bit too. Like sometimes there are only so many ways you can do X, Y, and Z, like so many times, so it does, there has to be something behind it. I feel like is really important too at a certain point. Like we were actually just doing our birthday episode because we're going to release that in December. And we were talking about how when we first started the podcast, it was about, we're just going to talk about explicit stuff all the time. And it's like, we're not that podcast anymore. Like we don't focus. We focus more on the writing and the why you're writing and what are you trying to.
Yeah, you focus on the actual author.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's become a lot more about like, what are you trying to say and what are you trying to explore?
Yeah, it makes sense. No, that makes complete sense. It's a very good way of showing evolution in your audience as well as you about what interests you. So that makes complete sense.
Yeah. I was told about you because of the Omegaverse and all of the Omegaverse. And I am not one who's particularly into Omegaverse. So I wanted to kind of break that down. Like when did was it SPN that introduced you?
Yeah, no, Supernatural was what got me into it. What the first fic was, I don't remember. I don't remember, but as I kept reading it, I became fascinated by it because honestly, I relate to the general Omegas. I feel like I relate to them really well. Like how they are in society, how they are viewed, Omegas to a point are basically women. They're feminine. I shouldn't say women. They're feminine. Omegas are typically considered feminine. There's all these. Go ahead. Sorry,
not to get too political, but I think you can make the equate of women because in sort of traditional Omegaverse, they are the lesser of the two secondary sexes.
There it is.
Not
the author I was talking about before is Sharkfish.
Okay.
On AO3.
Okay. Got a pin in that. Sharkfish.
They're very good. But like I said, they write about things that they're basically things I never thought to write about. But the way they do their mental health stuff is really good, in my opinion. I thought it was, and they were like the first one that really got me thinking about that.
Right.
About really showing that element. Because that's actually one of the things I wanted to bring up and toot my own horn.
Go for it.
Was I want to do it's going to eventually be called the Invisible Illness Bank.
Yes, you were mentioning that. I want to hear about that too. Yeah.
And I'm still in the process of developing the rules and everything.
Right.
I know Libby's going to help me as a mod, but the whole idea is going to be multi-fandom because why not?
Right.
Yep.
And the idea is you have at least one of the main characters have some kind of invisible illness, whether it's mental health, whether it's physical, because you just don't see that. You don't see that. Representation matters. And being able to have stories where you see that is just beautiful. And there are very few of them. And I want to encourage that because that's something that exists. That's something that people should be able to see and be comfortable writing. And I mean, that's what I want. I know that there's another bang that's kind of similar, but I don't remember what it's called now. Somebody told me about it. I think it's more LGBT focused, if I remember right. I could be wrong. I could be remembering two different things and mixing them up. But I know there's one that's similar. It might be more mental health. It's either LGBT or more mental health focused. I can't remember. But then I was like, yeah, but I want to do the stuff that no one sees. I want to do the stuff where they look at me. Because I actually have invisible illnesses. I mean, not just mental health, but like I have a connective tissue disorder. I have a electrical cardio. I have issues with my circulatory systems. I have electrical issues with it. Things like that. Those are things you can see. You just,
you look fine. You look
exactly
fine. That's what you get to hear. But you look fine.
But you look okay. Yeah.
Or like my favorite is you don't look autistic.
There's a
what do autistic people look like? Like
there's a really great response to that. He's a British he's not like a content creator. I guess you'd call him an influencer, I suppose. A satirist. And one of his kids is autistic. And his response to that is when people say to him, "Oh, he doesn't look autistic," he will go, "Luke, do you mind doing an autism for the lady?" And I just think that's just fucking hilarious. And then, the follow-up to that, to everyone's horror, Luke proceeded to name every train that's ever existed. Because I just think that should be the fucking answer. Oh, you don't look autistic. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like me to do an autism for you?
My gosh.
Yeah, because my thing, you can ask Libby. I am obsessed with Stitch. I love Stitch. I have so much.
The amount of Stitch photos I get sent with the Stitch memorabilia.
I have clothes. I have lots of clothes.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I don't have are office clothes. I literally have the onesie costume. I would have had it last year, but it was a timing thing. I have like 20, 30 shirts. I have ears. Literally I got the full size ears and I wore that for Halloween. And
honestly, I love this for you.
I have like a gazillion stuffies. My husband's like, okay. He's just like, okay, whatever.
It makes you happy. That's what's important, right?
That's exactly it.
Absolutely.
And I did do a pseudo crossover. Well, I did an infusion. That's it. I did a Lilo and Stitch infusion of a supernatural story. I've done fic facers for the last 2 years. And last year they wanted, last year I was comfortable doing like a story commission, but it's for the charity auctions. And so that was the story I did. They just wanted something. They wanted a kid fic and they wanted just something very basic, and they wanted Omegaverse. Okay, cool. You know, they're like, just run away with it. Because you know, some people have full details of stuff that they want to include, which I have no problem. I mean, for my blog and for my birthday with my Supernatural blog, I took requests.
Okay.
And just did little blurbs, which are all on AO3 and that blog. You know, and just basic stuff. That's how that Gabriel FTM reader one came about.
Okay.
You know, things like that. And it was just fun, you know?
Yeah.
Because then you know you have an audience and you know you're writing stuff that people like. But see, that's the thing about writing for me is I realize, like, I can't be the only one that wants to read this. I can't be the only one that's thought, like, why is there not a story like this? I can't write it. I'm like, oh, I'm writing it.
Yeah.
You know, or like I've read stories where I'm like, I would do this differently. Let me go write that. And I've done that. There are these two fics that were a huge influence on me, especially when it came to Omegaverse. It was actually the first MPreg with the whole process, you know, delivery and everything that I actually read. Because originally I hated MPreg. I didn't want to see that stuff.
Yeah,
right.
If you've been through it, you're like, I don't need to relive this. Like, I'm good.
I appreciate it now. I like that. I like it now. I shouldn't say I like it now. Like, I get why it's there, and I get like the part. I'm gonna laugh. Omegaverse, like, if I get into a full discussion on it, I start talking science.
Well, I feel like that's a big draw to it anyway. Like, I feel like that's a part of it.
Is. There are, if you go on Tumblr, which I'm sure now it's on Blue Sky, you'll see lots of Omegaverse art of their anatomy.
See, that's interesting as fuck to me. I want to be involved in that. Yep.
But there are, man, I even found it too. Like the other day, it was a fic that's by Sid. It's spelled like Sydney, but there's like a K, and there's a K for the other N or something like that. Hold on. And then like Misha. Hold on, I just saw something else. But yeah, no, like initially, like when I read it, it was a fascinating idea. And some of the ones that I read initially were the what is it called? The, you know, transformation fics. They could shift.
Yeah. Yep.
But then I've gotten deeper. Like now, I don't really care what the fandom is. I just read Omegaverse. And the thing about Omegaverse that I find the most fascinating is it's very dynamic. There's so much you can do with it. And I'm not talking about tropes. I'm just talking about societally, politically, the relationship and dynamics between alphas and omegas, betas. Like, betas are like the worst thing to ever be in their society, because everyone does them as regular humans. And I'm like, why? Why would there be regular humans in a society that would have that? That's not how it would be. And I actually had this huge discussion with Butterfly Slinky, I think is what their username is. We actually had it on Tumblr on my Supernatural blog, and which you can go read, or I can send you a link if you want. But it, you know, we were talking about the thing of, you know, the difference in anatomy, the difference in how, you know, what it would be. And then I pointed out to them, I was like, in my world, there would be there wouldn't be betas. Betas would be like, because, you know, we call them alpha and omega, so first and end. And I'm like, betas. They'd be in the middle. So we're going to have mu ones and nu ones. So the mu would be more alpha-like, and the nu would be more omega-like, but they don't have heats or ruts. Because so all of this is based on wolf society, right? Yeah. And it's the alpha who, you know, heats, ruts, whatever, time of year, impregnates all the omegas, right? But you have a dominant alpha and you have a dominant omega in any pack. But then you have the beta, and the beta is the one that's second in command. They're like the lieutenant, okay? And I'm like, so and they've had a very valid point of, the point with betas is they don't have heats or ruts. They are the ones who help make sure society continues to run while heats and ruts occur, you know? And I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense to me now. And I was like, okay, so I need to tweak these things. But like I said, if even though you're a beta, well, in my world, the Moo being more alpha-like in personality and viewpoint, it would make sense. You still have those elements to your personality, but you wouldn't have essentially the drawback. I mean, to a point, you can view heat and ruts as drawbacks. And, because it's just like, women having a menstrual cycle. It sucks.
Inconvenient, isn't it? Like you think it's coming next week and then it turns up this week and you're like, bruh.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh my God, it's early
for this. Or God forbid, it's due today and it doesn't turn up until next week. And then you're like,
stress.
My baby making days are done, but I'm going to need this to fucking stop. Seriously.
That's why I use birth control. I'm still trying to find someone to get rid of all my stuff because I don't want anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to take it out. I don't need it. I don't need it anymore. You can
first of all, it's incredibly dysphoric, but secondly, I'm done using it. Take it. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Now the writers.
Yes.
Okay. It's Misha Minion 69.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's I'm certain it's pronounced Sydney. It's SYDN KN 3 and then E.
Oh, like you're in your leg. Yeah. Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hold on a second. Because they write all the time together. I don't know if it's the same person or what, but most of their stories are like that. They have a series called A Broken World. It has inspired me, and one day I'll get the complex multi-chapter story written for that mine. But theirs is about basically, I guess you could say, apocalyptic world where there are, alpha groups, that take omegas and do whatever they want, and then you have camps that are basically kind of like ran by an alpha, but everyone's treated well, and it's ran well. And Dean is an omega, of course, and ends up being taken into this camp, and they take care of him. And of course, he eventually falls in love with Cass. But the world is amazing. I mean, the way they develop this world, the way they develop the dynamics, because he eventually learns about Sam, that Sam's there because he got lost from his family because he's an omega. That kind of thing. But that is such an amazing world. It really is.
I think the world building in that is what's fascinating to me more. Like, not that it's just not, I've just come to terms like it's not my thing, but I think the ability for people to fashion, like you said, like in my world, like this is how I want it to function. You said something though. You said one line that got my attention. Dean is an omega, of course.
I was gonna pick up on that, and I was like, do you have a preference on who should be the omega and the alpha?
That now. Yeah.
No, I actually write both.
Okay, but you said Dean is an omega, of course. So why the of course?
Okay, I say of course because if you look, the majority of fanfics on AO3 and of the ones I've come across on Tumblr, Dean is almost always an omega.
Okay.
I'm talking about like 80% or more.
Is this with Cass?
I feel like this is distressing to you, Sandra.
This is because if you read the first fanfic, the first supernatural RPFs, real person fiction,
right,
it was Jared and Jensen was the omega.
No, it doesn't distress me.
That's where it stemmed from. I guarantee you that's where it stemmed from.
I find it so fascinating.
I don't know if I like that.
I've had a conversation with a couple other people when we were talking about Omegaverse, and I was like, how would you how do most people see, like, say if you're doing Jared and Jensen or Cass and Dean or Sam and Dean or however, like the and like people are very kind of specific, like about how they feel their roles kind of slot in.
But here's the thing is that for my world, world of Omegaverse, anyone can mate. It may not be societally accepted, but anyone can mate.
Right.
Everyone's got scent gland, and it's all scent glands. It's not there's like a mating gland and a separate scent gland. I think that's stupid. I'm like, you don't have that much room.
Laili has opinions about omega physiology. I love this.
I do. I really do.
What if it's one on one side and one on the other side? Is that okay? What if you have a scent gland on one side and a mating gland on the other side? Is that okay?
No.
Okay. I have no horse in this race. I don't. I will be honest, it's not something I've thought about.
But I have thought about that. But here's the thing to think about, though. The human, here's the thing, is that I love learning. I love science. Literally at bedtime, we watch documentaries.
Love it.
Okay, that my husband and I literally watch documentaries. That's how we get my youngest to sleep.
Yep, love it.
So, but the thing is that I'm trying to think. Jokes and writing are enjoyed because there's elements of truth. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so my view is, okay, how would this work with the physiology? Because everyone views things as, how you are. Well, my viewpoint, at least for the scent glands, is, your underarms create smell. Now, it's a biological thing when it comes to your, the microbes and bacteria you have in your body, but it's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, to a point, do have scent glands, but they're nowhere near strong, and we don't have a powerful enough aspect in our brain to, it would have to be it literally would have to be bigger to be able to smell stuff. Some people do, some people don't. Super sniffers and super tasters do exist in humanity. But the thing is that, when I think of that, especially because of the wolf elements, is because that's how everyone views it. It's all wolf based. That's kind of like, how does that integrate? How does that work? Because they do have scent glands, and where are they? But the thing is, my view is like humans are generally bilateral. So we generally have two of most things, or it's just really big. Okay. Yeah. And that's how come I viewed it. And I'm like, why can't we have things that have multiple functions? We literally have parts of our cells and our organs that have multiple functions. And so that's why I came up with that idea. I'm like, there's no point in having a separate thing, because if it did, you literally have to design someone different. It's like trying to talk about the physiology of people with wings. Okay. Like separate wings is, if they have arms, they have to have shoulder blades and joints, to move your arms. But then you have to have another set of what's equivalent of an arm and shoulder blades to be able to have wings, because that's how they're designed. It's the same idea. And yes, these are things I find fascinating, and how people explain it and how they do it. Because I also do art, and I do digital art. I do a lot of bangs, and the first year I did it, that's all I did is I just did art, and it was a lot of fun for all the bangs. And so, it's part of why, because when you do art, you have to know the physiology. You have to know at least the physical appearance anatomy of the person. But I know when I took figure drawing, we literally had to learn the muscular structure of a human and how those muscles were, literally put together, and where they were, what angles did they go on, where did they go, that kind of thing, through the whole body. Because if you can't, how can you draw someone if you don't understand how the arm moves, how your hand functions, which hands are still really hard, that kind of thing.
Valid.
And that's part of, a continuation of why I find, like, literally the only thing I don't touch, because I still don't understand it, are female alphas.
Okay.
Because all the ones I have read, they have like an inner thing in their connect. It's going to get very explicit for a second, okay?
That's fine.
They have you have the vaginal canal, and apparently they have a thing in there that's actually their penis that is supposed to come out. And I'm just like,
no, we'll have less of that.
That doesn't make sense, because no, exactly. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't, because I'm looking at, human anatomy, and I'm like, technically the clitoris is a smaller version of a penis. Why couldn't they just have an external Why couldn't they just have a penis and a vagina?
All I imagine, this is horrible, all I imagine is the cervix just like going out. Because that's all I imagine. And it's really horrid. It's rancid.
No.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. No,
I want
creativity abounds. Apparently, creativity.
That's part of why I like Omegaverse is because it's just it can be so different, and it's all like I think as you know, I told you about the annual chase. It's literally one of my most popular stories, or at least it was last year. It's one of my most popular stories, but I did it differently than like instead of it just being like wolf base, I changed it to where there were multiple, animal bases. Okay. So like Cass is actually a raven.
Okay.
And Dean is a Malamute base. He's a dog.
Oh, okay.
Malamutes get confused as huskies.
But they're like nearly twice the fucking size. They're huge.
Well, they're fluffy as fuck. But they both have like serious personality. And yes, Dean is an Omega.
Of course.
Of course.
I think it was part of. I'm trying to
I feel like that should be the title. I feel like that should be the title.
I think I wrote it as a.
I agree.
No, I think I wrote it because it was like a gift exchange or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or a prompt. I don't remember. It's going to be in the thing. In the notes.
Yeah.
Or it might have been a profound bond server prompt. I don't remember. Anyway, but the point is, they wanted wings.
Okay.
The person wanted there to be wings, but they didn't necessarily want there to be angelic. And I'm like, what would be fun? I know. And the thing is, everyone are shifters. So that was the whole thing. It was a pack thing. It was a annual multi-pack thing. And they're all coming together, and they call it the annual chase because the idea is finding scent compatible people. And that's the whole thing is you pick a scent and you follow them. And the Omega is the one who's supposed to basically make it hard to do that.
Okay.
Now, mating is not a requirement or anything, but the idea is, everyone procreates and has sex. Mm-hmm. All right. But it becomes a love story with Cass and them because I have it separated where it's like the day after. And then you have like little scenes of how they met, little scenes of how they've interacted, things throughout, how things went. Mm-hmm. Kind of like more remembering and stuff like that. And they do mate. They do mate. Mm-hmm. And everybody kept asking, like, what would they do if they had kids? And are they going to be both? I'm like, we're not having flying dogs. Okay? It's not going to happen. Because I also have a world building series. Okay. So I show literally like, for most of my stories, I write down like the idea and I develop it and I develop the character concepts. I develop the connections to people. If it's a pack, who's in the pack? Why are they in the pack? Different ones and how they connect, and what the plan is kind of thing. And
I think those are all fascinating. It's all fascinating stuff when the world building, like to that kind of extreme, because you've got to get in there. You've got to get into the nitty gritty to like figure it out before you actually start writing the character stuff, And
I mean, sometimes it's not about, sometimes it's only about the characters. I do write a lot of stories where it's only about the character, only about those two characters. Mm-hmm. Or 3 or 4 or whatever, and how they interact. And other times it's about how the world is and how it affects them, like the annual chase. It's a societal thing. And it's socially acceptable. And you have to show, and then, to show that you have to introduce it, and then as well as introducing the characters and have the characters interact to show the development of how it goes, how the relationship shows. It's something I had showed about how I did it. Like, technically, like, if you look on that for that story, I have his mom being a cat.
Okay.
But John's a dog. John and Sam are a dog, but Adam is a cat.
This is fascinating stuff with this world building. I love this because we've talked to a lot of people too, where you've got to understand the world before you can write. You know what I mean? And I think that's great that Omegaverse, I think,
well, and that's why fandom works so well because you already have the world built.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's all about writing about the characters. And if you want to make changes, you can. It makes it easier. It is true. Like, that's part of why I like a Broken World series, is because they built this entirely different world. And while you can see there's a lot of influences from different shows and movies, who cares? The point is that they built this whole society and how the society broke down and how it had progressed to essentially kind of be healing into a typical civilization again.
Right.
But I forgot who it was. I had mentioned about how I have all these things for a lot of my stuff. You know, a lot of my stories. I don't do it for all of them, but I do it for a lot.
Me, you send them to me and I read them.
That's true. That's true.
They're very interesting. It's really cool to see the process and behind the scenes of so many stories.
Yeah.
And so
many different worlds. That I sent Nicole.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it as the iceberg situation, right? Like you'll get a part of the story, but then I remember we talked, I love this one interview we did with Ashtray Thief, and like the amount of, it was more sci-fi, but the amount of world building in like the documents they said that they had and all this stuff, that how politically, you know, different like worlds were against each other, and all of that had to be structured in their mind before they got into the story behind it. You know, it's like, you don't need to even know about it. You don't necessarily need to be told or force fed that, but having that structure in place makes it easier, and you could pepper those things in here and there when you need to continue to build on it. And I think that's fascinating with people. I find it so, it's amazing the creativity where we start with an IP or we start with a show and a whole other genre is built. Omegaverse is built from that, and then it becomes its own thing. And I think that's just, it's mind blowing how everybody has their own different ways of how it works. Structure,
the wonders of individuality.
Yeah, it's and that's I think what's so great about fan fiction in general too is the creativity that it allows people to, and maybe somebody who hasn't written or doesn't think they're a writer, you don't have to worry about the world building. You can just start writing about the characters.
I wasn't gonna write. I if it wasn't for some early mutuals that I befriended on Tumblr, I never would have written my first fanfic. Or published my first fanfic.
It's great to have that community that's like, no, do the thing.
And that's the reason I love the supernatural community. At least the people, I mean, you're still going to have people that gatekeep, and you're still going to have people that have like strong opinions about misunderstandings and crap. But overall, it's such a wonderful community. They're so supportive about, you know, helping you out with your art and you know, your writing, and you know, wanting to improve it, and you know, ideas like, I mean, I don't know if any of y'all have seen, but I have Plot Tribble on my that has, because I have become the unofficial Plot Tribble according to Michelle over at SPN Fanfic Pond, because I just can come up with plots like that.
So are you like the prompter when people need something to, they're like, hey, got an idea, run with it, give me what you got.
So whenever they do writing challenges and stuff like that, the majority of the prompts are from me.
Okay.
Like, no joke.
Okay.
Like,
that's awesome.
She had me do, what was it? It was a holiday one. So I'm like, yeah. Other people, here's one, here's two. I'm like, here's 23 I've done so far in the last 40 minutes. It's not that hard. Oh, for me, it's not that hard. I mean, and then I'll have talk to other people, like, because we have a channel for like idea bouncing, and I'm like, okay, what do you got? Because I'm like, I don't have a problem helping anyone. It doesn't matter the fandom. It's the plot. You know, the only thing I would need more, if it's a fandom I'm not familiar with, it's their personalities. You know, how does the world affect them? Other than that, it's not that hard to figure out, like, what do you want? Do you want them to have a relationship? Do you want to be romantic, platonic? You know, are they asexual? You know, what are they what is it, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, for me, for whatever reason, it's not that hard for me. I don't know why. It's just, you know, something I enjoy doing and helping people, and I'm always fascinated by it. And I'm like, whatever works. I want people to write. People need to write. People need to enjoy what they're reading. And I always tell people, look, if you come up with this idea, I guarantee you there are other people who want to read it.
Yeah.
If it's there, it's not surprising that there'll be other people who want to read it.
Absolutely.
It's just they have to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you want to post on Tumblr and then you want to post like somewhere else or advertise, market it somewhere else. It's just fun.
Good. I'm glad it's fun. I'm glad you're a part of the community that makes it fun for everybody else too. I think it's important. I think it's important. The one thing I wanted to ask was your ship and let ship. Like how do you try and live that mantra? Okay.
So I wasn't always like that because I didn't understand the underage or I didn't understand the underage aspect. That was the what is it called? I didn't understand like wincest. I didn't understand wee-cest, as they like to call it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And someone finally sat down and explained it to me in a way that made sense. And I'm like, oh, because technically SPN Fanfic Pond is a ship and let ship. Like you can ship whoever, whatever you want.
Right.
And so I wanted to reflect that, but that was the one aspect I had problems with. And once I finally got there, I was like, whatever. Okay. I don't judge people. I was raised that way as a kid. Like, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know. You don't know what's happening. They could be having a bad day. And it's the same idea, it's like, yay, okay, you like that. That's not something I like. I'm just like, it's not for me, but I'm glad you like it. I try to be positive about it. And I have a ship, I post that ship and let ship. We don't kink shame here, And once I finally figured out how to do PNGs and remove backgrounds, I had fun with that. And I was like, here, this way people they don't need to come in if they're going to be judgy. Yeah. So it's just one of those things of trying to do stuff like that and supporting people. I have no problem helping out, to each their own. I try very hard to be like, or like ships that don't do anything for me. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. When it came to like the whole no kink shaming, when it came to ships, the username is literally the porn fairy on AO3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
And they write really good stuff. But
they wrote Surrender. The series is called Surrender, and it's sadist cast, not masochist Dean.
Exactly. I love that series. That is such a good series. But the interesting part is what makes it such a good series is the whole thing. It's not about the kink. It's not about the smut. It's about their dynamic and their relationship. Yeah. Because part of it is Cass does some of the stuff that he does because Dean needs it. Because he gets angry at himself. He gets anxiety. And this is what they have found has helped with that. That kind of thing. And I'm like, I never thought of it that way. It's just a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I like why I like Omegaverse is you have these different perspectives on things and how they go about. And I love how it goes. Like, I love the way they have that relationship. I've actually gone back and read it several times. It's just a fascinating read because you see them. The whole story is about them. It's not about, they happen to have that dynamic, but...
Sorry, there's a lot more to it. And like you say, it is part of who they are. And I've read that series.
Exactly.
And it's, oh God, it's so healthy. They go to therapy. They have therapists. I think Crowley's somebody's therapist. I can't remember who, but Crowley's somebody's therapist. And it's, it's like, the kinky sex is there, but it's
not the point of the story.
Yeah, the point of the story is
because I admit
I've been comfortable with who they are.
Yeah, I've been reading more and more of the like BDSM AUs because the focus is
them.
I do, because the focus is on the dynamics help show the characters. It helps show their relationship. Yeah, you have the smut, but the smut's not the point. It's about how their relationship develops and where it goes and how they handle themselves and each other and the life around them. And it's like, it's done so well. Like all the ones I had come across, it is done so well. And it's really surprising that, well, I actually shouldn't say it's really surprising because that community is becoming more and more public and, in my opinion, more socially acceptable to a point. And being able to show the healthy sides of it is great.
Yeah.
You know, it like I said earlier, representation matters.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I really think I do think Omegaverse got a lot of their concepts from there, which wouldn't surprise me. So
yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
A lot of their dynamics tend to come from, in my opinion, show a lot like that. Which is probably why I enjoy it too, because I'm like, I like it all. So
I'm here for all of this.
But I think it's fascinating. I mean, that's all it is I just find it fascinating with it. So, because what is it, Libby? What was that like what the color reader you are?
Oh, the color reader. Huh? Like blue or yellow. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's
I
like
think
blue, yellow, green, and I think orange. I forgot what, you'd have to Google it. Like you and I are yellow,
Yeah.
and the whole yellow readers are all about the character relationships and their dynamics. It's not about the plot. It's about how the characters are. You know, you want people to be related to. I'd recommend looking into it. It's a very fascinating idea.
Do they use the primary colors and then mix them up and then? Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because they have the primary, and then there's like other one, like the secondary ones that they do that have different concepts.
It's like a quiz you can do. I get emails every month.
We love a quiz.
Like, books that I get recommended
I joined their
to me.
email list.
Yeah.
And they send you recommendations of books
I sent
to read.
it to spam. I can't deal with it.
I know. She loves
too many books on my TBR.
She loves books. Yeah. You see her library? Yeah.
Gotcha.
She collects pretty books on top of that. It's not just the book she likes to read. She wants the pretty version.
Yeah. I mean, I like Dramini, as you guys might know. There's quite a few traditionally published now, 3 big ones, and one book I have 4 copies in different special editions. Yes.
Yeah.
So. Wow.
Nothing wrong with that. If it makes you happy,
not at all.
I'm a bit of a collector.
Lovely. I'm gonna let Kasey ask their questions. Then we're gonna wrap up. And we're going to. This has been awesome. I've loved this. This has been a great conversation.
Great. I'm so happy. Awesome. I've enjoyed it myself.
Fabulous. So, if you want to share, like, you don't have to. It's no worries if it's none of our business. But Laili, how'd you come up with your username?
It was literal.
Fair enough.
Because I have a Disney one. I have the SPN Fanfic-reblog-writes, and then I have Diz plus fanfic-reblog-writes. And then I have
you want to make it difficult for me to have to say your name when you get that long. When you get that long.
I couldn't think of anything. I really couldn't think of anything because I'm like, I mean, that's all it is I was like, I want to make a blog, but I don't know what to do. What do I name it? I'm terrible at names. I mean, the only one that I've truly been able to, like, I feel really good about is I have this new blog that I'm doing called Side Quests for All. And it's because I got inspired by other people doing, like, you know, typical daily stuff. Make sure to brush your teeth, you know, go for a walk, eat a snack. And I'm like, you know, we all need those reminders. So I have one that I do a daily thing and we all get XP for it. And, you know, just something really simple on Tumblr. And I've only had it open for like a week and I already have like 8 or 10 followers.
Aw, that's
and
great.
I'm like, I didn't expect that at all. I didn't expect it to pick up at all. But
no, like you said, though, we all need those reminders sometimes.
So that's all it is. And then I'm slowly incorporating like adulting elements, like look at your bank account, plan for the week. And then I'll periodically have one that's repeatable that explains the difference between rest and avoidance.
Yeah.
and how it relates to like dopamine, because dopamine is a big motivation drug, neurochemical, in your head. And so I have a quick little thing, and then I have the source. I'm a big source person. You want to talk to me about stuff, you need to have a valid source. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And I was like, this one everybody needs to be able to do. Because it's very important for your mental and physical health. So I just thought, why not, But yeah, no, I'm not good at coming up with names.
So don't come to Laili for the names. Come to Laili for the plots.
If you
come to
need
Laili
help,
for the plots.
If you need help with titles, you know who's really good at it? What is Jen's Musketeer 13? Isn't that what her Discord username is?
All right, okay.
She loves Sam. She's a Sam. She's a Sam person. That's all she writes is Sam. She writes Sam Weeder stuff, and that's it.
I'm here for that.
But she is great at titles. She's like, tell me the summary. I was like, okay.
But okay, last question, secret question. And this has nothing to do with Supernatural or fandom or anything to do with that. So Laili might know, Libby might know, but hopefully not, because I like the silence. But other adults don't ask other adults this question enough, and I'm on a one mortal mission to change that. So Laili, Libby, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on it.
Ready.
What is she? Okay, Land Before Time. The little Ducky, whatever Ducky was.
I would have to look it up, but yes, I do know exactly what dinosaur you're talking about.
Okay. I don't remember what she is, but whatever Ducky was, I love her. All
right. We're actually reading, because I started a book club, we're actually reading Jurassic Park right now. And so really, I like, what are those dinosaurs that do that weird, I'm not going to try and do that noise, but that weird noise in Jurassic Park, the original film. No, that he has that like whistle, but it's not a whistle that does the noise as well.
In the original first Jurassic Park movie?
Yeah, in the first Jurassic Park movie. He has that like whistle thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that one.
They're like evil, and
they're very aggressive.
They're carnivores.
Yeah. Oh, I found out Ducky is a Saurolophus.
Yes.
Big mouth or duckbill.
Yep.
So then, I like platypi. And then there's the one that whistles. There's a whistle one.
Here, wait. What is it? I can't pronounce things today.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Laili, we can let you go. We can follow up with Livy on the dinosaur in a bit. But if you've got to go, I just want to say
Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Velociraptor. Okay, Velociraptor. There we go. We got it.
There's a weird whistle.
Laili,
I know what you mean.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. You've been a font of knowledge. I've learned a ton about Omegaverse.
Well, I'm always happy to help out. Like, I've helped out several people who did it first time. Like, this is my first time writing. They're not confident about stuff, and I'm like, let me come and help you.
Good. I can tell you're the helper. You're the helper where it's needed. So yes, we appreciate people like that in the fandom. But
yeah, if you, I'm more than happy to do this again. This is a lot of fun.
Yes,
amazing.
Thank you so much, Laili. Libby, thank you for coming
having me
and joining us for the conversation as well. We'd love to have you guys back for something. We'll have to figure something out. And Libby, reach out if you have questions about stuff. We'd love to.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to plan something.
Okay. All right. Yes. We usually do our outro on the back end after our guests exit out. So you guys have a great rest of the night, evening, wherever you're at. Do the things. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye,
guys.
Bye.
Take care.
So yeah, that was quite Omegaverse. What would you say, like primer for me as well?
That was a pretty good, like, I feel like you got to know a little bit about Omegaverse to be getting into the nitty gritty of physiology and stuff like that. But I think, if you know a little and you want to know more, Laili's your human for real.
I think in terms of what the helper aspect of it and being there for ideas for plot, prompts, they're in so many different areas and places. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to talk about their actual Discord that they have. That's about Omegaverse.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot in this document. I thought it was great to hear about Laili's journey and what they're hoping to bring out of fandom, especially when it comes to the representation we've talked about a lot. And I know we're gonna try to have a conversation about that too, about mental health. Mm-hmm. Mental illness, diversity, and how that's represented or can be represented, in fiction, because we're kind of doing a couple of different episodes already about that we've done different things. And I think that's another interesting point. Representation, fandom community, and all of those things. And it was great to have Libby be there to bounce off
and
ideas.
Honestly, I think normalizing the presence of an emotional support human is fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm fully down for that. So
absolutely.
If you're listening and you're like, I would really like to talk to those guys, but I don't do that.
If you
bring
need
a buddy, bring a friend.
If you need a person to bounce off that, hey, what was that thing that we did? What did we talk about? What was that one time? And it's like, yeah, you got your person right there. Got your person right there that's there to help.
Bring a friend.
It's what was that? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? What's that? What
phone,
are they?
Phone a friend. Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. Yeah. Phone a friend.
Bring a buddy, y'all. Bring a buddy.
But yeah, we want to thank Laili because Laili's a part of our Discord as well, and has always, I think, in certain situations when I've asked different for handy dandy Google forums and stuff like that.
Laili's in there. They're ready. They've got Rex. They got the Google form. They're ready to do the thing, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. But for now, we have to wrap up because it's been a long conversation, and we've had a full day of podcasting. We haven't been together in weeks, and of course, then we do the thing where we just just go over above and beyond. But we're gonna wrap up, and we want to thank you for listening, and we want to know what you thought of this episode. You can email us at idlinginttheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section, leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord, and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlinginttheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers, and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, Charlie, and Just Whispering Fantasies. Thank you for picking the tunes in the car. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thank you. Don't forget, you can support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So from me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are always highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlinginttheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say a huge thank you to Laili and Libby for joining us. Thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.